Welcome back to thecrochetcrowd.com. Today's tutorial I'm going to be focusing on the Catherine wheel stitch, and this is using a regular size crochet hook, size 6mm, size J, and I'm using Red Heart with Love today. And you'll be noticing that this is a regular size of a crochet Catherine wheel stitch, and I've had other tutorials where I have a jumbo version, and you can see the jumbo version is much bigger. In the regular size, what we're using is just double crochet instead of trebles. You may prefer this method. The stitching looks a little more consistent, a little more refined, but that's a choice that is completely up to you. I'm going to be taking my time on this tutorial. This is my absolute most favorite stitch in the world. I love this. When I was a kid, I created one of these as my second ever Afghan. After doing a double crochet and kind of getting bored with the idea, I decided to try one of these. Now I really screwed up on my very first version of it, that I kept looking at the edges because the edges were not kind of balancing properly, and because of that I was just adding a little bit extra on one side, not enough on the X, and then kept screwing it up, so I ended up with a really weird shape. So today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you tips on how to be able to look at this so that you can keep your stitches in balance as you go. So let's start off with some tips first. The first thing that is the key point of making or breaking this Afghan is basically looking at your stitches as spokes. So do you see how it was indentating in like so? I thought that was a mistake when I was a kid, but it's not. It's just because it's being pulled. But in actual fact, once you add a border, it'll pull back into position properly and it'll be just even perfect. Now what you have to visualize in this is that you have to look at this as like a water line or horizon. Okay, so if you're looking at a beautiful sunset, here's the top of your sun. This sun here is buried underneath the water if you were looking on a lake. So what you need to do is that you have here 4 spokes of the sun. So we have 4 rays of light, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are double crochets, of course. And then what we have here is that there's a line that exists right here, and you'll see that no matter where you are. So you see it here in the pink, just like so. And so that means that if you have 4 here, this is your water line. Okay, so this is the reflective line. Therefore if you have 4 here, you should have 4 here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I was doing as a kid is that I was sometimes adding a 5th, or sometimes I was only doing 3, and that would then throw off the count for when you're doing these single crochets that are on top. Now when you're doing single crochets, there's always only 2 on the edges, just like so, and so then it really just balances out. Now when you're doing the main circles right in the middle, again there's a horizon line. There are 7 rays of light from the top of the sun, and then 7 rays of light underneath the water in the horizon, if you want to look at it from that perspective, and that is existing on each one of the circles as you're going all the way around. So you'll notice in this sample here is that the green here balances on both sides. My very first example I ever did is that I had it so it looked more like this. So basically I would have a half semicircle of red here, and then I would finish off here. I would have a half semicircle here, and I would finish off here. So I figured out the math in order to keep it in balance so that you can have the right amount of circles going all the way across for one line, and then the other one is semicircles on both sides with the amount of circles on the inside. You can make this Afghan any size that you wish, as long as you keep the sets of stitches in balance with each other, and I'm going to be covering that in the next segment of this video. Now in stitches like this, there's what's called a set of stitches or a group of stitches, and the sets of stitches are what are required in order for the pattern to repeat itself. In this particular one that we have today is that we have sets of 8. It takes 8 stitches to repeat this pattern over and over and over. So what you need to be conscientious of it is that you can lay a chain down on top of a bedspread or any size that you wish, as long as your chains are within groups of 8. And then at the very end of your chain you're going to add 2 chains. So without further ado, I'm going to be making a kind of a Christmas inspired swatch today, and I'm just going to be grabbing up my yarn and creating a slip knot, just like so, and let's insert our hook. So let's explain the groups of stitches more clearly. So this one here, I told you that there's groups of 8. So what you want to do is that the first one never counts as 1. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. You decide to yourself, is this big enough for you? And if the answer is no, then you're going to continue your chain. So you're going to go 1 2 3 4 5 6 and then 7 and 8, just like so, and then decide if it's big enough for you. Now do not email me to ask me how many stitches you're gonna need to do a king size afghan or whatever. You can lay this chain down on top of your bed and it'll give you the size that you need. Just don't pull on it so it's extra pulled. So then I'm going to go one more set. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. So I've decided this is long enough for me for today, and once you get to the end and you've decided that, I want you to put in 2 more chains. This will keep it in balance. So 1 and 2. So no matter what size you're doing, keep it in groups of 8, but add 2 more chains at the very end. When we go to start the very bottom section here, we're going to be starting off with doing a semicircle that is raising up. Okay, so the bottom edge will be a flat edge. You can come in afterward if you wanted to do a border and finish it off to create the round loops on the opposite side if you wish, but for tutorial reasons today, and the way to start is that you want to create a semicircle first. So let's begin, and we want to keep in balance. So what we're going to do, so we got our chain and we're gonna count 2 from the hook. So we're gonna go 1 and 2, turn it over and do a single crochet into the back of the hump of the stitch. Single crochet that stitch plus the next chain for single crochet. So let's begin to do our horizons as the tops of the sun are popping out of the water. So we're going to skip over 2 stitches or 2 chains, go to the third, still continuing on the back loop, wrapping it, and we're going to double crochet with a total of 7 times into that same stitch. So just coming in here. So you'll notice that this one is not as labor intensive as the jumbo Catherine wheel stitch if you've reviewed that video with me, and the reason for it is that there's less wrapping involved. However, your afghan will take longer to grow, but it's just basically up to your own preference and what you're looking to achieve. So you have 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then once you have your 7, okay, you're done that, and you come back down to the line and skip over 2. 1 and 2, go to the third, and you're going to single crochet into that stitch, single crochet into the next, and single crochet into the next. There will be a total of 3 single crochets right in a row. We're now going to start another topping of the horizon, going up over top, and so we're going to just wrap, skipping over 2, going to the third. 1 2, go to the third, and you're going to do 3 more double crochets into that, or sorry, 7 more double crochets into that middle there. So each one of the horizons and undersides of the circle all have 7 spokes, or 7 posts if you want to be technical with the crochet language. Okay, so we got 1 2 3 4 and 5 6 and 7, just like so. We come back down to the line, 1 2, go to the third for 3 more single crochets in a row. You're going to notice that the first part of the chain is gonna kinda look all twisty on you. Do not worry about it. It will balance out in the next one, I can assure you that. So let's begin to do the final one for the swatch. So we're going to skip over 2, go into the third, and we're going to double crochet 7 times. Okay, so this is 3 4 5 6. Now when I'm doing this by myself, I do not count these as I go. I just kinda eye up a whack of them and then I count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and now we're going to skip over 2 and go to the third one for a single crochet, and look at that, you have only 1 more stitch left on your chain, and that is a single crochet. So the very ends, just like we started off on this side with 2 single crochets, this side we're also finishing off with 2 single crochets. We're going to fasten off now. We're going to go with the next color available to us. I'm just gonna show you how to fasten off. I just cut my yarn and I just going to loop it around and pull through and lock it just like so, and I'm going to turn my work and get ready for doing the next layer. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the next one here, and I wanna show you what we're doing here on the line. So basically at this point, where are we going here, is that we're going to start off and we're going to be doing the green section here. So what's gonna happen here is that we need to make sure the center points are all equaling into the center. So we're going to actually be chaining up here and then just start to collect the stitches to create this semicircle here, and then we're going to single crochet across the top 3, and then we're going to then go in and fill in the base area here. Now what we're going to have to worry about is that the center point, you see how far it is into the middle? We cannot immediately start on the edge here. We have to earn ourselves to here, and when I get to that part of the tutorial I'm gonna tell you this is exactly what we're doing, because the semicircles in the center points have to be further in, and you cannot just start on the outside of these circles. So without further ado, let's just grab our yarn. We're going to create a slip knot just like so, and you're going to come in just like there. So right where we fastened off is that I want you to insert your hook into that same stitch with the new yarn, and just wrap that yarn around and pull through to fasten on. And now we're going to chain up 3. So 1, 2 and 3, just like there. I want you to grab the straggler lines, okay, these are the loose ends, and just leave them down on top of the line. Now I told you that there was 7 spokes on the edges, and so this is counting as one of the 7. So we have 2 more or 3 more to do. So we're going to wrap going into the next stitch available to you, and making sure the stragglers are down on top. We pull through 2 and hold. We're gonna collect them now. So we're gonna wrap going into the next one, pull through 2 and hold. So those are 3 spokes out of the 4. Wrap going in, again keeping those stragglers in check. It's easier to do the stragglers in check than it is to have to deal with them at the end. So now we have our 4, so we're going to pull through all 4, and now we're going to chain 3. So 1 is to lock, 2 and 3. Do you see? So this is now your new center point there. So you're immediately going to go, this is your horizon line. I said that there's a line that holds out. This is it right here, that chaining of 3. So you're just going to single crochet into the next one available to you on the top for 3 in a row. So 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to let the stragglers then fall in out and behind, and I'm gonna deal with those later. So now we're going to start off with a full complete semicircle. This was only a half. So we have to get ourselves to the center point. So in order to do that we have to chain 3. So we have to chain 2. 1 and 2. So we're chaining a 2, and then we start wrapping and going into the next one, and we pull through 2 and hold, and we keep on doing that, pull through 2 and hold, wrapping and pulling through 2 and hold, to the point that you have 8 loops left on your hook. So you're collecting your stitches as you're going, because you're doing a complete semicircle. So I have a group of 7 right at this time. I want 8. Why is there 8 when there's only 7 spokes? The first section right here, this is the first loop. That's why there's 8. So we're gonna wrap and pull through, or pull through 2 and hold. And so now there's a total of 8. So what you're going to do at this point is that you need to pull through everything. So you're just gonna wrap and pull through everything just like so, and now you're going to chain 3. So 1 is to lock, 2 and 3, and now you're just gonna immediately come over to the next part of the circle and just single crochet over the top. So on this circles, when you're doing the semicircles over the top, there's 7 spokes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 of them are standing by themselves, and the 3 in the middle have the single crochet up over top, if that helps you. So let's do another semicircle. So we're just gonna chain 2, 1 and 2 to get started, so that we can get to the center point, and we're gonna wrap and going through and just keep on collecting. So you'll notice that once you do this row, your entire first row that you've already done is gonna start being balanced and pulling its shape properly. So it may have looked at all twist and weird on you. As I told you, you gotta just bear with it. So what I just do is that I pull 4, and I can see I got 4, I got 3 left. I want a total of 8 loops completely. There we go. Wrap and pull through everything. Lock. So we want to chain 3. So 1 is to lock, 2 and 3, and then we come down the top of the next circle for 3 more single crochets. Of the 2 rows, there's only 2 types of rows. Of the 2, this is the longest one of the 2 as far as time, as far as I'm concerned. So then we are going to do a semicircle like we've done on the outside, just like so. So we have to 1 and 2, okay, we have to get that center point, and we're going to collect the remaining 4 stitches that are left on there. Okay, and this is your spokes, your 7 or your 4 spokes on the edge, and then you pull through everything, and then you chain 1, and that locks it. So there's your 4, here's your horizon. To start your next row, this one is the easiest one of the 2, and you're just gonna immediately start by chaining up. To begin this row, you're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the equivalent of a double crochet in the rules of crochet. This is one of 4 of the spokes that you need. So you need to do 3 double crochets into that same center point that you just came out of. You see that? So you're just completely finishing off those. Once you have your 4 spokes that you can see, you immediately come in and you single crochet to the next single crochet that's available to you. And you do that for those 3 that are right in the middle. So you're going to start off in your next spoking area, so you don't have to chain first, you just immediately start double crocheting right into the center point for 7 double crochets. So you got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I did one of these in a Christmas one once, and it was beautiful. So I have 7, and then once I have my 7, I immediately come into where the single crochets are right here, and I just match it, single crochet on top. Just like so. So let's go for another one. So this is again over top, so we're just got 7, 1 and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I just want to just quickly verify by just visually checking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we have our single crochets. So we just immediately single crochet. So this is the very final edge, and it kind of looks weird, doesn't it? But just keep in balance. Just we're going to immediately just single or double crochet 4 times into that center one. These ones always look kind of off on the edges. That's because it's being pulled into the center, but once you throw in a border around this thing, it will stay in balance and will look really great. So we have a total of 4. We have a total of 4 down here. We have our horizon line. Everything is looking good, and we're going to fasten off at this point. So just completely trim your yarn, and we're going to get ready for the next row. But the next row we're going to do things slightly different, and I'll explain in just a moment. Now when we're looking at our rows, we're either going to start off with doing a semicircle of one color, and then once we get to the next color you're either going to do, you're probably going to do the single crochets. So you're always going to start off the one way or the other when you're doing it, and you just basically look at your project and determine that. So if I have a full complete semicircle down here where I just finished off, I'm going to turn my work, is that when I get my next color up and ready, I'm going to be starting off with some single crochets. So I'm going to just start off with a slip knot. And this is just like we've already done down here. Okay, so what we're going to do is at this point is just join it to the beginning where we fastened off and just pull through and through. And this one we're going to do single crochets. So for this row here we'd have to chain 1 and then single crochet into the exact same stitch, just like so, and into the next. So on the outsides there's only 2 single crochets sitting by themselves instead of 3. So we're now going to create the semicircle, and you already know how to do that because we've already done it on the green, but I'm going to review it again for you for right now. So we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we immediately just go into the next stitch and start collecting them again. And we want to keep collecting them until we get a total of 8. So this would be considered 7 together if you were actually to look at it in a pattern. Okay, you notice how I had the stragglers down on top so that I could trap it into position so I don't have to weave them in afterwards. So I have a total of 7 right now. I want a total of 8 loops on the hook because that first one of the horizon one that goes over counts as one of them for the loops. So there's now 8. Wrap, pull through everything. So now we have to chain 3. 1 is to lock, 2 and 3. We immediately come back down onto the next part of the green and 3 single crochets in a row, and then we start the next one. So 1, 2, so we chain 2 and then start collecting. So I think a faster row is the bottom. It just seems more labor intensive. The top one going up over top is really a no-brainer as well. So I don't really count these as they go. I just kinda say, okay, there's 4. Oh, there's another 4 done. I just completely just eye it out. You will get used to that. So we're gonna chain 3. 1 is to lock, 2 and 3. Single crochet. The next 3. I like this color green and red together. So 1 and 2 and collecting them. So we started off with single crochet on the other side. Therefore this side that we're coming up to, we should also finish off with the single crochets along the side edges as well. Okay, there's 4. I got 3. I need 1 more. See, I'm going by the number of loops on my hook. Pull through everything. So chaining 3. 1 is to lock, 2 and 3. There should be 2 stitches left on my hook, and there is. Now this is where people screw up the most. We go into the next one. And do not forget that final chain of coming into the top. Okay, so there's what it looks like at this point. So let's finish up this line here, and this will conclude off today's tutorial. We're going to chain up 1 and we're going to single crochet ourselves into the next 2. So we got 1, we just come immediately down into the same one that you just came out of, and then into the next one. So there was 2 single crochets below, there's now 2 single crochets above. So now here's the next middle part. So you just immediately just start double crocheting 7 times into that same. This is 3, 4. I just want to make sure. Okay, we want to make sure we don't miss that first one here. This is the horizon line, so don't count that. So we got 5, 6 and 7, and then immediately just single crochet into the 3. So you know exactly what you're doing at this point. It's just a matter of how to start properly on either starting off with a semicircle here or with a single crochet on either side. But either way you end up with a really gorgeous sample, and then just we make sure that at the end you want to bury in, just pull everything nice and tight just like so, and you can literally just trim off these at this point and they will be buried into your project for good, and just kind of pulled tight as well. It's a way of not having really ugly knots, and you end up with the really amazing samples at the end of this particular stitch. It's really beautiful. And until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of thecrochetcrowd.com. Stay tuned for more free patterns and ideas. We'll see you.